biculturalism in the United States is very much existent across the nation. We can clearly identify it specifically in the city of Los Angeles, California, where there is a lot of Mexican culture in every corner. We noticed a lot of businesses and murals centered around Mexican customs. The beautiful city of Los Angeles is a great example of how two cultures can mesh together peacefully. But the reality, however, is very different. A rising problem has to do with the different ideals of the American and Mexican culture and how to a young adolescent it can lead to bicultural stress. It is safe to say then that bicultural stress among Mexican American adolescents contributes to problems with identity development and negative psychosocial behavior. So to first define bicultural stress, it is the perception of stress due to everyday life stressors that result from pressure to adopt to the majority culture as well as pressure to adopt to the minority cultures. So what I found was that this stress interferes with normal identity development, which is a problem because it can result in feelings of emptiness, alienation, and abandonment, because the adolescents feel they don't quite belong and they remain outside a group or culture. Also, the adolescent is stressed about having to adapt to two cultures, and it puts them at risk for alcohol dependency and other risky behaviors such as joining a gang in order to feel like they belong to a group. The reason why identity development is difficult is because there are problems with having to present characteristics of both cultures. So they are left with the issue of to what extent are they allowed to retain identification with their culture of origin, and to what extent are they allowed to identify with mainstream or dominant culture. We know that sometimes society tends to put labels on people based on appearance. So let's say Mexican American identifies as American. If they have a darker skin complexion, they would be subject to greater stereotyping and discrimination than someone who has lighter skin. Now, if a Mexican American identifies as Mexican but has an American ideal, they may have to deal with stereotypes that kind of tell them how they should behave because of their culture. And if the adolescent fails to maintain the Mexican culture alive, the peers will call the adolescent derogatory words such as Oreo or coconut to imply that they are acting white. In both scenarios, we can see how there isn't full-on acceptance, and in that period of time, feeling acceptance is very important for an adolescent. Otherwise, there will be very negative consequences.
Listen, being Mexican American is tough. Anglos jump all over you if you don't speak English perfectly. Mexicans jump all over you if you don't speak Spanish perfectly. We got to be twice as perfect as anybody else. Why are you laughing? What's so funny?
Nothing.
I'm serious. Our family has been here for centuries, and yet they treat us as if we just swam across the Rio Grande. I mean, we got to know about John Wayne and Pedro Infante. We got to know about Frank Sinatra and Agustin Lara. We got to know about Oprah and Cristina. Anglo food is too bland, and yet when we go to Mexico, we get the runs. Now, that to me is embarrassing.
No, Dad!
Japanese Americans, Italian Americans, German Americans, their homeland is on the other side of the ocean. Ours is right next door, right over there. And we got to prove to the Mexicans how Mexican we are, and we got to prove to the Americans how American we are. We got to be more Mexican than the Mexicans and more American than the Americans, both at the same time. It's exhausting. Man, nobody knows how tough it is to be a Mexican American.